Welcome back, and thanks for watching Hey Rondell. Don't forget to please like, subscribe, click that little bell, and leave your comments below. So today, I want to talk a little bit about organization, because at some point, we've all woken up one day and realized we've gotten a little bit disorganized. Things have gotten away from us. That may mean that we've gotten a little heavy. That may mean our closet's gotten a little out of order. It may mean our finances are not even being monitored at all. Or it could be all the above, which most of the time that's what it is, all the above. We let everything go all at once and then wake up and realize we gotta fix this. So, what's the best thing to do to get back on track? I'm sure, once upon a time, it was buy the organizer, a little book, and you wrote everything down in it. And then now there's apps, and there's a billion products, and I've watched several videos with all sorts of ideas. But you know me, I don't like wasting my money on something I don't need. So, first things first, figure out what your problems are. So, let's take for instance, your closet needs to be organized. And you can almost apply this to anything. First thing you have to do is you have to get everything out of the closet and figure out what's there. Before you go buying $1,000 worth of closet organization stuff, you got to figure out what you need first. First, you got to go through it. You got to make sure there's anything in there you don't need, you don't want, that shouldn't be there, or that's redundant. Get rid of what you don't need, get rid of what you don't want, get rid of what you shouldn't have, get rid of the redundancies, and get rid of anything that's not supposed to be there. Then, put it all back in and see, maybe you don't need an organizer now. Maybe you don't need to spend $1,000 on plastic tubs from some, scammer who's going to tell you how your life's going to be so much better if you just buy this one product. Because I have news for you. Almost nothing worth doing is spending money. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. And as cheap as I am, I've figured out that sometimes I have to do things the hard way just to, save money. But you can apply this, most of us don't lose our health, unless you come from childhood. But, when you get into my age bracket or older, one day you wake up and you're heavy and you realize I have lost organization. And it's the same thing. You don't need to spend money on people. You don't need to spend money on programs. First thing you have to do is you have to evaluate what the problem is. And that is simple as going through and get rid of stuff you just know you're not supposed to have. Get rid of the cereals and the sugars and start eating the things you're supposed to. And that may fix the problem. It all depends. If you're 10 pounds overweight versus if you're 200 pounds overweight. Big difference. But first you got to get organized. You got to get rid of the things you don't not supposed to have, the things you don't need, the redundancies, and see where you are before you can decide what you need to do. You apply this to your finances, especially to your finances, because so often, people get into financial trouble because they're not paying any attention. You just need to go through your account, figure out where the money's going, get rid of the things that aren't needed. Maybe the problem's solved. Maybe it's not. Maybe you need more expertise from there, but first you have to know what the problem is. And unfortunately, so many of us wake up one day and we have to do all this all at once. But before you spend money, back to basics. First things first. And organization doesn't have to be super detailed, but you have to begin with an end in mind. Zig Ziglar said, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Hey, you got to start with something. One of my first things I want to mention is that I am not a believer that apps on your phone, on your computer, or anything else are going to solve all your magic problems. In fact, sometimes I think they make things worse because it's not a reference. It's easy to get to. It's not stable in your mind. And it really is put it there and forget it. So, if I'm writing down goals, I actually write them down. I really like note cards personally myself. I buy the 3x5 index cards and I write stuff down. I write stuff down on them all the time. I may never look at those ever again. But writing them down puts it into my head nice and solid and gives me a nice reference point I can pull out. I know. You can do that digitally, but for whatever reason, I truly don't believe, especially for me, that is an effective manner into making me remember what I'm doing making me commit to what I'm doing. It is a type it out and forget it thing, because that's what we do. We type things out on Facebook, we type things out on Twitter, we type things out, here and there, and we forget it. We just send it off into the ether. I don't need that. I need something I can look at, something I can hold, something I can read easily, and not just the phone, because we turn our brains off so often on the phone. And when you're going through the Facebook and the social media. Next thing I'd like to mention is that a lot of times organization comes with a time crunch, and some people, you may need absolute organization because you have appointments and your kids have all sorts of things, but some of that might be solved by your calendar and putting those appointments and those times in there. But again, you need to know what you need. But time is always the big crucial crunch. I don't have time to clean this. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time. I also have another thing I'd like to mention about there. Write down. And this, I think, is absolutely important for writing down. Write down everything you did yesterday, everything you did today, and if you can't remember, do it tomorrow and the next day. And write down how long you did it. You might find out you've been watching TV for 5.5 hours a day, and 3 of those hours were shows you don't even like. Well, there's 3.5 hours you could be working out. Maybe one of those shows is a show you could be on the elliptical at the gym watching on your phone, because you don't need details, you just want the comedy. I personally watched all of Sopranos again while I was weightlifting. I didn't actually watch, I just listened to, because I didn't need to see it. I just put my headphones in, pressed play, and I did my weightlifting throughout the entire show. And I watched a show, or listened to a show every day. As you know, I do the same thing with YouTube videos while I'm driving, because I got the YouTube Premium. I press play on one video, I put my map on the top, I never go back and look. I never watch anything. I listen. So, you might find that you're spending extra time doing things you not even know you're doing. It's the same thing with finances. You may find you're spending money where you don't even realize you're spending. And the same thing with nutrition. You go look in that refrigerator, you may find you're eating things you're not supposed to be eating. First thing you have to do sometimes is just figure out where the things are. Nutrition's a good one. You need to start tracking. So often we let 5, 6, 4,000 calories slip into our diet without realizing it. You have to track. You have to see what you're doing. I truly believe, and we've done carnivore, and I know there's some people who say, when you're eating carnivore, eat as much as you want. But I also think it's good to track, because you may not be eating true carnivore. You may be letting carbs slip in somewhere. Or you're on paleo, you may be eating processed food slipping in. You're on low fat, and you're letting a lot of fat slip in. Whatever diet plan you've decided to go on, you have to track to make sure you're sticking to it. Whatever fitness program you're going on, you have to do a little bit of tracking to make sure you're sticking to it. Well, whatever you're doing, you have to do a little bit of tracking. And you might find you need some help, you need an app, you need a program, but first you have to figure out what the problem is. And that, I think, is very important for everyone to realize. When you feel like something's out of control, stop, figure out what's going on, get rid of what you don't need, and get it back under control before you try to fine-tune it. And that's my message for today. Thank you all very much. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And share it to Facebook, share it to Twitter. Hey, let everyone know. Come over and watch me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And please comment below what did you want to hear, and I'll make a video about it. Thanks.